I was talking to Ronnie Coleman, right, in an interview on a record, and he told me in 2004, the day of the Olympia, he thought he was gonna die. His body just completely wasn't functioning, and he was gonna go to the hospital and just pull out of the competition. That's on a record, actually, so people can go see it. And then his coach told him what to do: drink a lot of water, whatever. So he was able to compete and win the contest. Have you ever had moments where you felt like you was scared for your health?
Yeah, I actually had. It was oh man, I think it was I remember this if I could think back clearly because I remember being in bed and I remember just kind of just laying there and I'm not much of a person, I take a nap with my daughter. My daughter naps, I get up early and I did some work in the morning. I'll nap with her, and my wife says, "Hey, put her to sleep so I can go to the gym." I'll nap with her. I don't mind. And it's like 15, 20 minutes. But man, it was this one. I'm not gonna name the show because I don't want to pinpoint the coach. I don't want to pinpoint anybody again. And guys gotta understand this. I'm not one to throw people under the bus just because of a miscalculation. But I still remember being in bed that Vlad, I didn't even want to pose, man. I was just there and I was just breathing. My friend comes into the room and he goes, "Man, you were sleeping. I was watching TV and I could hear such shallow breathing." And I was like, "All right, so you think I'm gonna die?" And I said, "Man, let me just write a note." So I remember my own notes. I die. If I die, but I am gonna step on this stage. Just let me just sleep a little longer. Let me just sleep a little longer. And I remember he said, "Man, it was like 4 hours later. I was still sleeping." I never could sleep before a show. I could never sleep day of the show. I think the only person I sleep more than anybody at a show is Rolly. He could run a freight train and Rolly is knocked out. I'm like, how the hell can he sleep, man? Rolly be knocked out, man. He's no matter where he is, but he's a good sleeper. But yeah, it was bad. It was bad because when I got up to pose, it was such an effort. It felt like my arms weighed a ton, and my legs were just still standing on them, and the rest just felt like just air where I just couldn't flex at all. And it was just like, oh my God, how am I gonna get through this?
But you got through it.
I got through it because it's just you twist this thing in your mind that you just it's kind of you can be dragging, you're dieting, you're low carb. You see a fan down the hall as you're getting to the show and he wants to take a picture and you just kind of light up and you bring that extra energy out of your gut. So it was one of those things that it was just like dragging. I couldn't pump. Forget I couldn't pump. It was just impossible. So since I couldn't pump, I couldn't really do anything. I went on stage just with the oil and with my color, and I think I think I got like fifth place in that show, and I was just happy to have made it past it. And I remember I just started eating, and I think no, even the eating I didn't care about. I was drinking more water than anything. Uh, I think about I think Gatorade brings a six pack, the regular size. I drank one of those entire things and just load it up. And I think that was my biggest gain too, the biggest rebound I ever had. And it all had to do with diuretics. I had to do with diuretics, and I knew there was a better way. I knew there was a healthier way in bodybuilding terms. And I didn't feel good about it, but I knew I had to make the call, and that's why I decided to train myself for the following contest the same year.
But what you're just describing, and I hear these stories all the time from the top pros when I talk to them. Like Paul Dillette told me a very similar story. He collapsed actually backstage. But this is part of being when people listen to this interview, right? That's what you're describing, what Ronnie described, and Paul. I mean, this is part of being a pro bodybuilder, right? You take it to that such extreme that it can happen, and that's just part of the profession, right?
It's part of the profession. You got to suck it up. Gotta be tough, show up, man. I mean, you're talking to a person that, I mean, every show, I mean, most of the shows I've done, I lost somebody, I lost my mom, I think 3 weeks before the 2006 Olympia. And I remember doing cardio, bawling my eyes out, crying, and people looking at me in the gym like, this guy's really pushing. Like, wow, I never seen him push that hard. And it was just me crying. They thought it was me kind of really getting into the workout. But it would have been disheartening to pull out because of what I felt, that inner hurt, that pain, and I said, man, I gotta channel this pain and use it to just compete because if I don't show up to this show, I think I'll be a bigger disappointment to my mother not showing up because I'm hurt. The pain will pass. Yeah, but the regret of not showing up is gonna last much longer. And I remember showed up. I remember I got third place that year. I think I should have gotten second, but I got third place, and I remember just went backstage, and because mentally I kept saying to myself, and obviously I didn't bring up my mom in the press conference. A lot of guys like to, they like pity. A lot of guys like pity. You know, again, without saying names, they love the pity because the pity is kind of like that scene of American Idol where the person who has the saddest story will always get that, magic button pressed, so they could just go on to the next. It doesn't mean they're going to win the show or whatever, but people love the pity, and they know it sells, and they know they'll get the sympathy, and the judges, some of them do go with it. I never brought that. Listen, I came here to compete. My life is my life. That's what happened. If you heard about it, you heard about it, but I'm not here to sell that so you can place me slightly higher. I'm bringing physique for that.